For 70 years, he's created memorable characters on stage, on TV, and in film.
Every morning you greet me.
He was Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music on Broadway.
Clean and bright.
He played a Hungarian linguist in the film My Fair Lady.
Maestro! I'm your pupil. Your first, your greatest, your best pupil.
And he was a submarine skipper in the movie The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming.
Товарищ лейтенант Разанов, немедленно доставьте всех подводников на борт.
But the role for which Theodore Bikel has earned his greatest acclaim is that of Tevye, the poor Jewish milkman in Fiddler on the Roof.
I wouldn't have to work hard.
It's a character that Theodore Bikel made his own in over 2,000 performances, more performances in the role than any other actor. A role that stands at the center of a new film, a documentary that pays tribute to the Yiddish author Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, I think, is the greatest Jewish writer who ever lived.
Aleichem's tales about life in the Jewish villages of 19th century Eastern Europe form the basis for Fiddler on the Roof.
I find as time goes on that I am walking in his shoes.
The documentary Theodore Bikel in the Shoes of Shalom Aleichem tells the stories of both artists, the Yiddish writer and the actor born in Austria whose first tongue was Yiddish. Like Aleichem, Bikel also sees himself as a Jew living in exile.
Because whenever I played Tevye, I played my grandfather. There were two stories to be told, and one of them was mine, my journey, and the fact that when I started as a young boy, Shalom Aleichem was constant in my life.
At 90 years old, Theodore Bikel is expressive and articulate. In this extended conversation, he tells me his father used to read him the stories of Shalom Aleichem from books that were taken away when the Nazis invaded Austria.
When the Nazis came in, they confiscated everything, including our books. And that was a terrible blow. So I had to tell that story and then go ahead with my story and how Shalom Aleichem always played a role in it.
Bikel is full of observations about the way that artists such as Shalom Aleichem continue to share their stories about the Jewish experience, even while in exile.
He came to New York with less than 500,000 Jews in New York because he said, there's freedom here. I can write, I can be published.
And when Aleichem's stories about Tevye the milkman were transplanted to Broadway, Bikel says the musical defied those with lesser expectations.
Because there's a basic humanity to Tevye the milkman. People said, once you run out of Jewish audiences, that's it. That'll be the end of that play. And how wrong they were. And they were wrong because the better a work of art is, the more universal it becomes.
For Bikel, promoting universal values of dignity and pride goes far beyond the stage and screen. As a longtime social activist, a co-founder of the Newport Folk Festival, Bikel used his folk music to stand up for trade unions and the civil rights of Black Americans. What Bikel says he remembers are the people who went to sleep during World War II and did nothing to stop the Nazis.
I would never put myself in the position of these nice people next door who think it's not their fight when the victims are not them. And whenever I see an injustice, there's a switch that's thrown in my head, and the victims become Jews. They can be Chinese, they can be Tibetan, they can be black, but they're Jews.
Bikel says he is a Jew who looks at the world as a universalist.
I am horrified at the violence that exists in this world and in every country, and I'm sad to say, in this country more than in others.
A man who believes only peace can win peace, and who still hopes that we can rise above intolerance and hate.
Scratch a racist and you find an anti-Semite.
On this night, Bikel finds himself in front of a new audience, these children at the Jewish Community Center in La Jolla. They are listening to his stories as Theodore Bikel once listened to the stories of Shalom Aleichem, stories of tradition and wisdom, humor and compassion. The tales of a human family to be shared again and again.
A world perhaps not even known or understood, but if the work is superb, doesn't really matter.
The tireless 90-year-old actor is on the road right now, traveling to 6 more cities to promote this documentary. And music lovers may be interested in hearing that 20 of Bikel's albums have been released on iTunes. Sasha Fu, KUSI News.